I'm not ready.
All right. Oh. Ugh. Sending data. Yeah. So what time is it? 3:01. Okay, so 4 minutes.
Reverse the polarity.
Indeed. Yes, the polarity. Oh, did we record on these cameras?
Yes.
Okay. It's probably.
In the past, or are we recording right now?
Yeah.
Hey, we're live.
Who knows? Mac. Are we recording on these cameras? You're sure we're recording on these sides ones?
Yes, and yes.
Okay. Good. Lovely. All right. Roll it.
The history of the Gallic lands is one of struggle, punctuated by moments of sheer brilliance.
Tartan is Scotland's gift to the world, and it is your personal heritage story. Howdy, boys and girls. Welcome to Kilts and Culture. I'm Rocky. That's Eric.
Yo.
Today, special treat, we have the Octomore 12.1. Indeed, indeed. This is a gift from Jonathan King. It's been here for a little while. It didn't fit on the shelves in the back, so we could never have it in the background in the studio. But this is one that I've been curious about and wanted to try for quite a while. So, yes. All right, Mac, see you are on your way. Do you want more or less, Mac?
Sure.
Okay. Here, I'll give you more because I can always have more. So what tartan do you have on today, Mr. Mac?
Oh, I got Wallace Hunting muted on today.
Wallace Hunting muted. Very good. Nice, very nice. Eric, what do you have on today?
I'm wearing a tweed kilt, but I'm wearing Belle of the Borders. I was thinking about reavers after we met that guy at Celtic Classic, and we were talking about the reaver clans.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very nice. And today I have on the old American Dream tartan. Yes. Matches my new
The
sweater.
old American dream.
Yes, the old American Dream. All right. Very good. All right, Mr. Mac, why don't you regale us with some tasting notes of our
Or just gale us once, because we haven't been galed yet.
Octomorian.
So, are you going to start with the aroma first?
Sure. Definitely has aroma.
So,
Super heavily peated, for the
This is
record.
extremely peaty.
well, this
guys.
says
Super heavily.
it's zesty and citrus.
Zesty.
Earthy peat smoke.
It's earthy.
It's smoky.
It's open to vanilla sponge cake and barley sugars, coconut, chocolate, vanilla, and caramel to follow.
That's just the nose?
This is just the aroma. Yes.
Nothing about iodine?
Well, unless that's cinder toffee and layers of peat smoke and honey.
It's like whiskey with a side of LSD if I'm going to get all those flavors. I mean,
I get a tiny bit of the honey. I get a little bit of the sweet smell.
I get that.
Okay. All right. It's yeah.
Okay,
It
it's
is.
leading the witness.
It is
again, but
super heavily peated.
very.
Yeah, that
That
kind
is.
of takes over.
Okay. All right. Earthy.
Peppery and sweet,
Yeah, it's definitely peppery.
with a smooth texture of golden syrup, honey and peat smoke.
Okay.
Then move to fired oak chips and peaty apricot jam.
No, just peat. None of that, just peat. I'm gonna try a bit of water. I want to cut it to see if it's,
It is fiery.
yeah. I'm not getting.
I am getting some sweetness. I do get kind of like almost a mapley, vanilla-y
That's
kind
that the golden syrup as
of. Yeah.
it's called in here.
Yeah. So
I-
I get that.
Yeah, I don't know if it's because I've looked at, since I've read these that now that I'm again leading the witness in it.
You will taste honey. You will taste honey.
Like it definitely comes in swinging. You get kicked like a
And how?
with a steel toe right in the mouth, but
Well, what do you expect from something that comes in a bottle that looks like ordnance? Okay.
And when they're bragging on the bottle, super heavily peated, like,
they're not wrong.
They
Yeah.
ain't joshing.
yeah, they're being honest.
I think it could grow on me. I'm gonna say that.
Cutting with water almost makes
Mega peaty.
it more dirt tasting. Like it cut the burn, but
Sure it did.
Mac, did you pour any water in it yet?
I
or no?
didn't, but
Alright.
You got the good water. Apparently, I didn't get the good water this time.
the like the finish, what they're saying, like salted caramel, like I kind of get that at the end here.
I have to admit, this is a fairly honest tasting notes. Although it is, I can't decide if I'm leading myself on after hearing the words or not. But there is a surprising amount of sweetness to this, if you can get past the peatiness.
Yes.
But it is
If.
that first
big if.
Yeah, that first bite. Man, you ever get burn when you overburn your pipe?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you get that tongue
Yep.
burn.
Yeah,
That's what it's
yeah.
reminding me of. It's reminding me of tongue burn.
You ever go to Scotland or Ireland and you sit in a tiny little thatched roof cottage and you have the peat fire and you just say to yourself, I want to take a big bite of that peat brick.
I was going to say, I thought you were going to say,
That's what this tastes like.
I wish I were somewhere else. Ever been in a Turkish prison, Tommy? Yeah, no, it's...
Not since the 80s.
I don't know. The water definitely cut out the
burn.
it cut out the pepper right off the bat.
Yeah. It's you're just left with like dirty water. It's a lot of peat.
It is.
They're honest
maybe,
in their review.
Maybe I didn't put enough water in because I'm still getting some burn on. Now it's on the side of my tongues. Tongues. I got two actually. And there's some sweetness to it, but
Yeah.
this is a thinker.
It's an acquired taste. I will 100% say it's an acquired taste. If you like peaty, super heavily peated, their words, not mine, whiskeys, if you love Islay whiskeys, have at it. I don't get a ton of smoke. I just get the peat.
I agree.
So
I agree. It's very peaty, not
Yeah.
smoky.
I think the smoke is at the end, though. I think it's more as I'm sitting here, like I'm noticing more smoke later than I am up front.
yeah, but you're talking, a candle's worth of smoke to a backhoe's worth of peat.
I mean, this is nowhere near Smokehead, but
Yeah, that was no.
We're gonna have to do that again someday.
No, we don't. No, can't make me. All right, Mac, what are we going to give Octomore 12.1 super heavily peated by, who is this? Brooke Lottie.
I'm going 6.5. I like the finish. Like I like the sweetness of the finish.
Okay. 6.5 from Mac. Eric.
I don't get the sweetness in the finish. I get more in the middle. But so it's like the first sip was really, really harsh, and now that I'm getting into it, it's like there's a kind of a cool balance between peatiness on the sides and then sweetness in the middle of my mouth. And so I'm actually going to give it. I'm going to give it a 7.2 because I think I could learn to really like this. I don't. It would be a once in a while kind of a thing. But it's just kind of like.
Okay.
It's
I'm
complex. It is. I will definitely say it's complex.
Call me a layman. To me, it's not that complex. It could be, but it's all overpowered. It's like, the Mona Lisa is a very, very complex painting, and then just, slap paint all over it. And like, oh, what does it look like? No, it's just the paint on top. To me, it's not super complex. It's just a metric ton of peat.
I don't know. It's not bothering me like it was the first sip.
I get a little bit of the sweetness, but I can't pull out the other flavor profiles at all. They're too overpowered. I'm gonna go a bit critical. 4.8.
Wow.
I wouldn't turn it down. I wouldn't say no. I'll pass. But I wouldn't reach for this. I wouldn't buy it.
Well, I will. Okay.
It's too much.
I will say basically my review is based on the flavor, and I feel like there's flavor to unpack. Like in the course of an evening, just very slowly enjoying this one. I'm kind of getting into it, but I would not necessarily pay what this bottle costs.
Oh no! It's way.
So that's a whole. If our reviews are based on cost, then that would have to drop my number. But I'm just gonna go on flavor.
Yeah, Jonathan was a crazy person. or he bought it at a great deal. This is like a $300 bottle of Scotch.
Yeah.
Whiskey for our friends in Scotland. But it's got Scotch in America. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot to handle. All right.
I still think it makes me think of like a supervillain rocket that's gonna go and attack the International Space Station or something. But
Yes, indeed. Okay, so that's our review for Octomore. Very good. All right, boys and girls. As always, load in your questions. We are here, but your humble servants, to answer whatever questions you have about kilts and/or culture-related stuff.
and
Stuff.
today's puzzler.
Yes. So while Mac is collecting questions out in the interwebs, Eric, what do we got for preloaded questions?
Numero uno from David Barr. Hi, David. Here's a simple one for you. If you had a time period... Oh, this is going to think you right off the bat, actually. If you had a time period other than now, right now, to wear a kilt and Highland wear together, what time period would it be and why? So if you had a Wayback Machine, Rocky and Mac, where would you go to put on your best kilt outfit and all that stuff?
I'm gonna be mischievous with my time machine. I'm gonna go back to when was the Glen Affric found? Or not when was it found? When was it?
Dates to
dates
the
to
1580s, I believe.
1580s. Okay, I'm gonna go back to late 1400s and wear like American Dream or one of the tartans that I designed. We travel over to Scotland. Well, I have to be in Scotland for this to work. Then I am going to bury it in a strategic location. I'm going to get the coordinates of said location. I will then travel back into the future. I'll wear it, wear it around. I will have a painting of myself commissioned.
Oh.
So that there's evidence
Oh.
of a thing existing. And then
Okay.
travel forward after said painting. Travel forward and then uncover the thing from, hundreds and hundreds of years ago. I'm going to be that guy to ruin history, destroy, screw it all up. What do you think?
There's a lot of preservation you got to do to make sure that all falls into place, though.
Yeah.
Good point. Okay,
Gotta
I'll
make-
have
yeah.
to find the right peat bog.
Somebody's going to plop a housing development on top of your find of the century.
Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to travel to Scotland with my time machine and find a spot where there's no housing development.
Okay.
And then I'll travel back and plant it right there.
You realize it has to be a time and space machine. Otherwise, you could wind up floating in the void of space because at any given point in time, the Earth is in a different position.
Yeah. Okay, time and space machine.
Yeah.
There we go.
So a TARDIS.
Yes. Indeed.
Because it's relative dimensions,
Yes, yes.
I don't know if I have an answer for this one. Are you done?
I'm done.
Okay. So Rocky has the supervillain
Yes.
answer.
And Mac, we have to get Mac in here too. Do you have an answer, Mac? To give Eric time to think?
So, I think I'd want to be near, like, Culloden. I think I want to see how it all kind of, how it all
Jacobite?
Yeah,
Okay.
like that, in and around there, and just
See how they did it.
yeah.
Fair. That's a good answer.
Yeah, I mean, I get that. It's just like, do you want to be an eyewitness to a point in history? Or do you want to be a point where you're actually showing up? I mean, because he pointed out you're showing your Highland attire. If you're just observing, you might as well be in one of those Star Trek duck blind things where you're invisible and you're just
No,
kinda
but he
watching
can
what's happening.
interact with them. He could join and wear Highland wear back then.
and get shot
And
Yeah.
then die.
and then die.
Well, interact with them. Be like, oh, good luck at the battle, guys. See ya. I gotta let the dog out.
See ya.
Stove's on. I gotta get home.
Left the TV on.
Yeah.
What? Eric.
I don't know. This runs contrary to how I think about time travel, which is about the nerdiest thing I've ever said on this show.
Well, actually,
Well, I got the glasses here.
Okay.
So, well, actually, look like an accountant. I would definitely go Victorian first. I wanted to play around with this and go to some weird places.
Okay.
Like off the beaten path. But the easy answer is to go and finagle my way into Balmoral Castle and have tea with Her Majesty, good old Queen Vic. That would be my way of doing it proper with
Vicky,
the
as her
Highland wear.
friends called her.
Mhm,
Yes.
The Widow at Windsor.
Yes.
I'd go Kipling. I like to go Kipling. Haven't kibbled in some time.
Kibbles and bits. Bits of kibbles.
Yeah. Other than that, I think it'd be fun to. I'd like to go back in time and be there around the time that the Falkirk hoard was
found.
deposited.
Okay.
Okay. Go back to
Roman
Celto-Roman times. Yeah,
right.
and see that. And I would not wear Highland wear.
Yeah, but what would you
Modern
wear
era,
to
right?
go back? Or would you go back naked
Heavy
and then
armor,
figure out what to buy?
Kevlar.
Yeah. Fair.
Yeah, I don't know. Or is it? Yeah, what if it's like the Terminator and you wind up naked when you get there?
Well, it's more about wearing
Your
Highland
kilt,
wear.
give it to me.
The question's more about wearing Highland wear back then.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
yes.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. If you're gonna wear Highland wear and look awesome, then that makes me think of going to awesome occasions to be dressed up at. So, like Elizabeth II's coronation, first ever televised coronation. That could be kind of cool. I'm not gonna say George IV's visit to Edinburgh
Okay.
because we always do, but I guess
Okay.
it's too late now. I said it.
But would you change? Would you plant seeds of something contemporary to showcase back then, or would you try to blend in with and just observe what was there?
I think I'd try to blend in.
Okay.
I think I would try to blend in.
So you wouldn't want to kick Ralston to the side and be like, oh no, I'm the man.
Well,
who did this.
tempting as that
Yes.
is, yeah, but no, I'm not that egotistical.
Okay. Fair.
No,
I am.
but-
That's fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Good question.
Yeah,
Good-
it's a real.
it's a
I
good
don't know,
thinker.
man.
It's
That's
a
a
good thinker.
weird question.
Yeah, it's a good one.
I'm-
Mr. Mack,
I'll come back in a day and have a better answer. What?
who do we have from the interwebs for the questions?
All right. So we've got C3RVU5. Is got a
dear.
question for you.
Oh dear.
Great kilts. Are they a hassle or actually practical?
Who are you asking? Where are you?
Depends on your
Are you a
context.
shepherd?
Are you a Jacobite?
Fair. To me, it's more of a hassle when I'm getting ready throughout the day. I'd rather just connect 3 buckles and be done with it, versus having to lay the whole thing out, lay out the blanket, pull out the pleats, do all that stuff, and then potentially adjust myself more throughout the day if things get a bit wonky as I'm running around. So I'd say for me, it's probably a little bit more of a hassle, and it's also more material to wrap around you. So I don't know, it may be a bit warm, a bit cumbersome, but some people people dig it. There are some people who are trying to wear great kilts more in a little bit more contemporary fashion kind of sense, and more power to them. I hope that they enjoy it. As long as they're having a good time, have at it. Eric, thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, we saw more than one guy doing that at Celtic Classic last weekend. I think it is the more you do it, the more practice you get, and the easier it is to just in the morning. But still, yeah, I'm kind of of the opinion that the tailored kilt was invented for a reason. Now, I do think that doing outdoor activities like bushcraft and hiking and stuff like Fandabidozi, doing that kind of thing in the context, then it is both fun and becomes more practical. I mean, the whole idea of wearing your blanket, wearing your shelter the whole time and just rearranging it in order to take shelter is pretty freaking cool from a minimalist, naturalistic standpoint. It's kind of cool, but I think most of the time guys are wearing it just as an alternative fashion. So I'd say it could be fun for like a special occasion or a date night or a special concert or something like that, but I wouldn't want to bother with it every single day. That said, we know guys who do. So if it comes down to practice and you just get used to doing it every morning, then your mileage will vary from mine. But I would prefer a tailored kilt personally.
I think Ian may be onto something. Ian's trying it a little bit. I think there's something to doing it on a special occasion, as you said, or just like the once in a while thing to kind of get used to it and play with it a little bit. I could see potentially doing that just for if you get bored of your kit and you want to do something a little bit outside the norm.
I honestly think that's how a lot of guys wind up getting into it.
Yeah. I think that could be a bit fun, or a special occasion thing, or a Ren Fair or something like that. Obviously,
Yeah, that's different. I mean, but at the same time, if you save it for special occasions, then you're not getting in the practice that I'm saying you would want in order to get good at it, in order to have it be a mindless thing in the morning when you're getting ready.
Yeah, but if you wake up, if it's 5 minutes, you wake up 5 minutes earlier to be able to lay it out and do it properly, then yeah, I could see it. I don't know if it's me. It's too much.
It's totally a subjective thing.
It's potentially too heavy too.
I think I definitely wouldn't do it in Pennsylvania summer.
Yeah,
It's too warm for me in Pennsylvania summer. There's too much layering.
yeah.
But for fall and winter, yeah,
Or if you're gonna wear it down in the back.
you almost always have it kind of down. In the
Yeah,
back.
yeah.
That's what I'm imagining. I'm imagining the modern casual wear
Yeah,
of a Fillmore, not up over the shoulder with a brooch or anything. Nobody does that.
yeah. Unless it's raining.
Modernly, yeah, but then you can just flip it up. It's
Yep.
there when you need it, but you're not going to wear it like
Indeed.
that the whole time.
Yeah.
Boy, are we rambling.
A bit. Hope that helps. All right, Eric.
Yes. I can do this without my glasses. James J. Walker. Hey, happy Halloween season. What are some of USA Kilts gang's favorite Celtic cryptids?
Okay. Define cryptids for those who may not know what cryptids are.
A cryptid is a semi-mythical urban legend kind of a creature which has been attested to more recent times, but in some cases is a old legend, in other cases is a new scientific discovery. So Nessie is a cryptid, as is a Bigfoot, Chupacabra, Squanch, Pennsylvania's own cryptid, Jersey Devil, Mothman.
I can't think of many. The only one I could think of as a cryptid would be like, outside of Nessie, would be like Morag. What was my other? I had another thought earlier about this. I completely blanked on what my other thought
You were
was.
wondering about who or what puts the cone on top of Wellington's head in that one square in
Yes.
Glasgow.
Yes. That would be the current legend. Do a weird eyebrow thing. That I would be curious about is who. Yes. Would that qualify as cryptid?
I think sometimes cryptid is in the eye of the beholder. You
Fair.
know. To that end, my choice would not be technically a cryptid either, but I don't know enough about cryptids in the UK to answer this. I know folklore, but not cryptids. But I can't remember the name of the town, but there is one town in Scotland which is said to be the UFO capital of Europe. Like the single most, like to the point where they have tourism built around this place, just like at Roswell in the
Area
U.S.
51,
like, yeah, so it's like this is like more UFO sightings and supposed landings here than anywhere else in the entire continent. So I think that would be my favorite cryptid adjacent thing, like Scottish UFO sightings.
Okay. Is it Star Trek?
No, I'm just trying to do
Okay.
basic theremin impression.
Okay, fair. Mac, do you have any cryptids you can think of, or none?
What did the water horse, the kelpie, was it kelpies?
You see, I don't think that's a.
Would that be considered?
That was my original thought.
If people claim to have photographs of one now, or like they found kelpie footprints on the beach or something like that, or a kelpie came into their campsite when they were beach camping once or something, then I'd say it's a cryptid. If not, then it's a legend.
See, there was
It's a mythic creature.
There was a Teen Titans Go episode
Love that song.
where there
Teen
was
Titan.
a they explored the water horses, the kelpies.
Okay.
Yes, indeed. So there's cartoon
Did
evidence
it have a
of it existing.
happy ending?
I'm stopping. The
Get your mind
yes,
out of
I know
gutter.
I'm juvenile. I don't remember
Humans.
whether it had a satisfactory
Teen
conclusion or not.
Titan.
Yeah. Now go Teen Titans Go. Yeah.
So I would say to me that's the divider. Now, if you're talking about, we could expand this to favorite Scottish Celtic legendary creatures, in which case my favorite is the red cap, because red caps are freaking metal. No, that's my second favorite. My first favorite is the Nuclavi, who is even more freaking metal. But
Who's the horse that's like inside out? Or the one that's like all like muscle and no skin or something.
That's Nuklavi.
Yes, yes.
Nuklavi is a horse with a human torso fused to it.
Yes.
And human arms and head and torso, no skin. It rises up. It's from the Orkneys. It rises up out of the ocean and distributes plague ahead of it, anywhere it goes.
It happened to me once.
And that is very obviously a Viking-influenced monster, and it is freaking metal. But red caps are my other personal favorite. How about you, Mac? You got a favorite beastie?
I guess because I did research for one of the things on Kelpies that just kind of stuck with them.
Do you like Kelpies? Okay.
Yes.
I think we've also scared Kristen. She's
Well,
getting skeeved
You're
out
a
over
farm guy, so I could see horse-related things being.
Yeah, but they're just glue.
there. See, now I'm meshing. That's horrible, Mac. I'm meshing Monty Python with the Nuklavi, and like she turned me into a Nuklavi. Nuklavi. I got better. No, okay, just me.
Yours used to be Morag, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Morag was good too.
Morag was cool.
Yeah. All right.
We do have a whole playlist of Halloween videos, which includes some of the Celtic beasties like that. In fact, we have a new Halloween video coming out in just a few weeks.
You don't say.
I do say. And the topic this time is the top 5 haunted places in Ireland that you can actually still visit.
Ireland.
Ireland.
Yes, indeed.
Yep.
Cheers. All right, Mac,
All right.
give me a question.
All right. So Robert is asking. He says, "Forgive me if this has been asked before, but any suggestions for someone who has never tried Scotch but wants to do so without breaking the bank?"
Shield egg. Shield egg.
Not this one.
Period. No, yeah. Not this. Neither breaking the bank nor trying as your first Scotch. The first Scotch that all this, the vast majority of the stuff that we have all behind us here in the studio is all from people sending us Scotch. Never expected, always appreciated. It's crazy. But the first one that we were given as a gift was Shield egg, and it was a customer gave it to us, and I was like, oh, I don't know if we should try it on the show or not, because I'm going to give an honest opinion, and if I don't like it, I don't know. And I tried it, and I was like, holy crap, this is really good. And then we looked it up. It was like $40 or less per bottle, like $35 a bottle.
Very
I was
affordable.
like, for that price, that's freaking ridiculous. So Shield egg, was it 10 or 12? I forget which. Shield, Shield AIG is how you spell it. Shield egg is my go-to for people who have never had Scotch before and want to try something as an entry level but affordable Scotch. Eric, any other?
I would agree with that, but I would say the next one after that, I would consider investing in a Dalmore. But I'm a fan of Dalmore, so Dalmore. So that's more like you're like $75 a bottle, something like that.
Yeah.
So that'd be like the second one. And I would get your second one not too long after your first one, so you can start developing a basis of comparison. So you don't like try a cheaper one, and your palate just doesn't happen to agree with that one. I mean, everybody's palate's different, as we just demonstrated with this thing. So you don't want to be like get a false negative, So I'd get 2 at the same time if you can afford it, or get the second one not too long after the first one, so you can start doing some taste comparisons of your own.
Yeah, and see what else you can pair it with as well. If you,
the
one thing that was told to me by my buddy Bill Reed.
Yes.
For people that don't like Scotch, or they say they don't like Scotch or whiskey, what you do is you get some dark chocolate, and you have a non-Isla. So don't get this. But if you have a Shield egg or something like a Speyside, something a little bit lighter, a little bit more less high flavor profile kind of thing, get a piece of dark chocolate and have them just a small square, put it in their mouth and let it melt in your mouth a little bit, and kind of just let the flavor of the chocolate sit in there, and then take a sip of whiskey through the Scotch or through the chocolate with this chocolate, and there's a lot of great dark chocolate and Scotch pairings. So that is a way for someone who doesn't really appreciate Scotch or says they've never liked Scotch before to introduce them to it and to have them kind of cut it and have it with something else.
Yeah, I think it's because the bitter notes or the tannic notes in the chocolate are going to counteract some of the heavier aspects of the Scotch. So if you're concerned about the Scotch feeling too strong, that's a way to kind of level it out at first. I mean, most scotches you will find either the maker or professional whiskey tasters will tell you what they recommend as pairings for, for dinner items or for cheeses, and strawberries and chocolate are classics. Things like that, little snackies or desserts that pair well with the beverage in question. So pay attention to that also, for sure.
Now I'm hungry for...
And cleanse your palate.
I'm hungry for cheese and chocolate and strawberries.
Maybe not all at once. But
Did we ever compile a list of what we've tried and what we've scored?
we did. Matt worked on that a while ago. I can't remember where it is, but
Okay, because we've had William
A few
asked
people.
about it on here, yeah.
yeah, I think we have it somewhere.
We should release a document.
I think what we should do is another tasting show where we actually have some whiskeys and we have some different things to go with. Like I just said,
Okay.
like you just said, you
Okay.
have some chocolate,
Okay.
have some cheeses,
Yes.
have a to do.
Yes, but as we are novices, we need someone who knows what the hell they're talking about. Okay.
Now, James brought up the point of truly doing a blind taste test where whoever's back here, me or Ian or whoever, pours for you and gives it to you live on the show, and you would have zero idea.
We did
We
that
did
once.
that
before.
once. You were there.
Oh,
I
was
think.
it was Lucas. It was Lucas and Adam.
As a Locust and Adam. Okay.
Yeah.
Old Adam.
We did that once before, and then they screwed up and didn't know which one. They gave us the same one twice and forgot the third one. It was, yeah. Oh, yeah. No. Horrible. Anyway. Yeah, we should do another tasting another time.
Yeah,
I agree.
that'd be fun.
I agree. Yeah. Cheers. If there's any, how about this? Down in the comments, let me know. Is there anything that you think we should be tasting specifically for a flight? And I would probably do like a lower priced, a medium priced, and a high priced in the same kind of bracket, like all Space Sides or all Islas or all whatever.
Highlands.
Yeah, so we can, or all Highlands, or so we can
Yeah.
sort of,
Yeah, that's a good idea.
find our favorites within it.
You're fun.
See if we have a developed palate or
It'd be
not.
a good thing to do around the holidays.
Okay.
Or Burns Night. In Burns Night season, that'd be good to do.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Anyway.
And have the flavor notes, Mac, but not what the thing is. So don't tell us what we're drinking. Just give us the flavor notes of the thing.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Very good. Good
Grandpa's
question.
Shine.
All right, Eric.
Okay. Okay. This is a more serious one. I read this earlier. So, okay. Steve said to us a while back, it may not be a question that you guys necessarily want to hear, but I just feel like I am losing interest in kilts. Losing interest in the novelty. Maybe I'm getting old. I just don't feel like a peacock, quote, anymore. It may just be my general depression, which I've been dealing with recently, but I rarely make the opportunity to put on a kilt like in the last 3 or 4 months. How can I think he wants to know how to get his mojo back, basically.
Fair. So, how do you maintain your love, appreciation, that spark for Highland wear? I would start with this. Life in general, interests in general, ebb and flow. Like it's like the tides. They come in and they go. So just because you're a little bit, you're not as excited about it now as you were when you first started wearing a kilt, it's okay. It could come back. It's like with a lot of things, it all comes full circle. There's you go through cycles in your life. I wouldn't get rid of this stuff. It's expensive. I would put it to the side and just kind of let it go. If you want to kind of reignite the spark, a couple things I would say. One, if you've never been to Scotland, if you've never been to Ireland, if you've never been to Wales, I would say go on a trip, take a tour. I may go with other people. I would try to find something happening locally where you can, join in with other people who are going to be doing something, kilt related, culture related. If there's a Celtic festival near you, I would check that out, where there's going to be other people who share the interest around you. It could be, as you said, it could be depression. It could be you're going through, your wife has cancer or something and she's going through remission, and you're pouring all of your heart, soul, and energy into supporting her, and you don't have much time for yourself. It's okay. It's okay to love things passionately for a period and then kind of back off for a while and come back and reignite that passion later on. So I wouldn't get upset about it. I would just take it as part of your experience in life, and you'll find your balance. You'll find your way through it. Eric, thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I'll take it on two levels. I think on the heavier side, real life comes first, as we say. If you're going through a major life change, if you're going through difficult circumstances, if you're dealing with, like you said, like a loss, or if you're dealing with a major shift in how you're able to make a living, health problems of your own or anything like that, of course, that's going to be your main focus and priority. The question then is, the thing then is to not let something like this become burdensome. You have no obligation to be expressing this 24/7 every day of your life. Conversely, if you can find a way for it to feel more therapeutic, it might be helpful. But it's not a race. It's not a competition. It's not like you're going to get drummed out of the Kilt Corps. If you're not representing properly, you're not going to get, taken out, booted from the gang. The important thing at any point in your life is self-care. And if your fashion, if your heritage interest is part of that self-care, fine. If it isn't right now, that's fine too. The only true constant is change. So the trick is to accept that and ride that and move through the waves, because they happen to everybody. On a lighter note, there's nothing wrong with having multiple interests, especially if you're kind of a flighty ADHD obsessive person like me. I will spend a third of the year in a very gothy kind of a mood, a third of the year in a very Victorian kind of a mood, and another third of the year in a very 60s mod, reggae culture kind of a mood. And it varies. And my brain will want to switch gears once in a while just naturally, because I obsess over something, study it a lot, I'm really into it for a while, and then it's like, okay, that tank is full now, time to switch gears. And so that's fine. That's absolutely fine. So there's nothing wrong with you for any of this, and maybe I'm stating the obvious, but there's nothing wrong with this, nothing wrong with feeling like this. The trick is to, as they say in Taoism, know when something no longer serves you and you instead serve it. Bottom line. We're talking about very materialistic stuff here, so in the long run, it's secondary to other concerns of being a human.
I would also point out that we don't know how long ago Steve got into this. If it
That's
was,
a good point.
when you first get into kilts, I'll liken it to like the drug high kind of thing, where the first time you do drug, like it's high, and then the next time it's not as high, and it keeps going down with the same amount of drugs. I learned this in health class, kids. No, but it's one of those things where if you're excited about the attention you get when you go out in public, you're excited about the amount of people reacting to you, you're excited about that nervousness of going out, and then you have all these positive comments. Maybe it's a little bit of that. It's that it's
Something
not
of
that original excitement as much, and over time you just kind of get used to it.
Yeah, I mean, it becomes habit.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like, it's like we say, like when you go out to the grocery store, and at first people are looking at you because you're wearing a kilt, and then eventually a while later, like a couple of years later, people are looking at her like, why are they looking at me? It's like, oh right, it's the whole kilt thing. I do it every day, so I forgot. So
Yep.
Familiarity breeds
Complacency,
not apathy or contempt. but yeah, just like, and that's fine too.
Yeah.
But
I would say whether it's due to depression, whether it's due to boredom, whatever the issue is due to, find your tribe, find your people, find friends to help you up, to prop you up, to lift you up. Friends where you can kind of forget your troubles, forget the world, forget your depression for a little bit. Not that you can forget depression, but you know what I mean. Just forget your circumstance, even for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours out on a Saturday night. Just have a mental break where you can just unplug from that thing, whether that's being with like-minded people, whether that's watching a movie and engrossing yourself in a book, whether that's giving yourself some kind of break to just separate from it. But if you find that within a tribe, within people who share a common interest with you, if that common interest is culture, is that common interest is kilts, then good on you. That will help you kind of get through the thing. If you're not in the Kilts and Culture group, I would say go to Facebook and join our Kilts and Culture group. We have a ton of people over there. We try to get together. We have the rabble rousers, guys that get together wearing kilts. So if you're looking for people of similar mind, there are places where you can find those people. That's the one beauty of the internet, one and only, is making all these weird little tiny niche subcultures into easily accessible. Like back in the 80s, 90s, way back in the 1980s, 1990s when I was a kid, you didn't have. It wasn't as easy to find that group. Now we connect with people across the country, across the globe with ease due to the commonality of these groups. So, yeah.
We had zines, and we were grateful. We had posters on the sides of telephone poles, and I'll tell you what, we paid more attention to them than you kids pay attention to your meal at dinner time. And my son, when I ever talk about how much of a pain in the ass he is when it comes to eating his vegetables, anyway.
I had to tear off a piece of paper to get my guitar lessons.
Seriously, the bottom line is be kind to yourself. As much as we are passionate about this stuff, this is a hobby. This is not a litmus test. You're not a fake. You're not an untrue Celt or Scot or whatever. And it's here. If you need to go away for a while, it's always going to be here to come back to.
Yep.
It is, in that sense, it's something you can absolutely rely on. So, yeah.
What's the Bruce Lee thing? Be like water. Just let go. Follow your passions in life. If they lead you back, great. If they lead you somewhere else, great. You want to be happy and follow your passion. That is what life is all about. Indeed.
Wash day.
Here endeth the lesson. Solange, I hope that helps.
A little rambly, but hopefully it helped.
Indeed.
So.
Mr. Mack.
All right. So we have Aaron asking, what are some of your favorite things you've seen in terms of people bring non-Celtic elements into their heritage, into their kilt wearing?
Non-Celtic elements. I would say,
It's hard to choose.
Yeah, I would say I'm not a huge fan myself of bringing in complete left-hand turns. So like mixing, Native American stuff with Celtic stuff and things like that. I'm not a huge fan. People have done it, varying degrees of success. If you like it, have at it. For me, non-Celtic stuff would be pairing a kilt with everyday clothing. So, got a new sweater. Great. Wanted to wear my new sweater on the show today. This is not a cable knit sweater. This was not, hand knit by a little old lady in Ireland or Scotland. It's about just expressing myself and meshing some of my different passions and things that I like and expressing them outwardly, whether it's my little ska hat pin that I got recently that I wear on my flat cap now, or whether it's, a sweater that I happen to like. It's not fully Celtic, but it's modernizing the Celtic thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you're just showing bling that's your interest. You're just reflecting your interests in that sense. Yeah. It's kind of neutral. It's just your personality.
Yeah, it's expressing personality, but not needing. I'll put it this way: I don't need the Celticness, the Gallicness of the kilt to be present in every part of my outfit. That is the way that I'm answering the question. Versus, it's expressing my own personality and my own, sense of style within it.
I think there's it depends on context. There are occasions where if you're someone with a complex heritage, a mixed heritage, or you're part of a group that is combination of different heritages, then there's going to be some occasions where you want to play with that and trying to represent the whole shebang, and it can be fun to play with in an aesthetic way. And there are occasions where it's like, this is going to be trying too hard. Don't worry about it today. But I know not everybody feels this way, but I do think that we have a number of people who are a mix of Gaelic, usually Scottish more than Irish, but Scottish or Irish heritage, and Native American. I mean, the Cherokee adopted a Glengarry as part of their ritual regalia back in the 19th century or even 18th century. And they started. You find them online, pictures of these things where it's a Glengarry style hat, but it's beaded to all get out, and it's absolutely amazing looking. And I think there's something to that. There's a way of doing this respectfully. I think it comes out especially in people who get married, and they have different cultural backgrounds that are ostensibly very different. Like you have an American or a Brit who's marrying someone from India, for instance. And you see these amazing combinations of different outfits in the weddings, in the wedding photos and stuff, which is gorgeous a lot of the time. I know one or two people who are into a Celtic heritage, but they're also into their African heritage, and so that they will combine, a kilt, but with, like Central African jewelry, or like brass jewelry, or like from the Congo, or things like that. I've seen people try to do a dashiki shirt with a kilt, and I don't think that quite works from a purely aesthetic standpoint. Just from a mixing dots and lines with plaid grids doesn't work. But I have seen things that people have done that looks freaking amazing. So
I think that's...
I don't know. I think the sky's the limit, in my personal opinion, because you have a right to express who you are and where you come from, and it often is a really cool conversation starter and expression of your fullness as a human, so
I think I hear what you're
taste is
saying.
another matter.
I hear what you're saying. I think there's a line. Like if I were to wear a specific the bracelet you said you were talking about with a kilt, or something subtle, or something that blended well together and didn't look like one was an affront to the other, or one made it look like you were trying too hard. I think there's a try-hardism within it
There
that
can be.
I don't like. I don't like the over-the-topness for the sake of over-the-topness. So a dashiki, worn with a kilt, it's too much.
They're detracting from each other because they're both extremely strong designs.
Exactly.
That's the issue.
I would kind of pick one that I would, okay, so the tartan is a very strong element, so maybe not wear that, but the bracelets, sure. Or if you're wearing an Irish sweater with some kind of like some other cultural garb, that it didn't compete too much, and they kind of complemented each other. I think that's what my actual issue is. It's when the whole element or whole outfit kind of competes, and then it looks a dog's dinner.
I think it's easier to do with accessories, is the bottom line, is that basically because the kilt is a full body, well, not full body, but it's like a good half a body garment, you're better off pairing that with physically smaller things like jewelry. The number of guys I see wearing kilts and also wearing, Nordic stuff is vast. There are a lot of guys out there who have some Scandinavian heritage and also some Scottish, and they'll be wearing a kilt and they'll be wearing a Thor's hammer, or they'll have Nordic or they'll have torques like which is actually mostly Irish, but that's Gaelic Celtic, so that's different. But anyway, the coolest I've seen along those lines, which is kind of over the top but awesome, is there was a company, I think in Norway or is it Sweden, that were combining traditional national dress Scandinavian overcoats with kilts.
Yeah.
And
I think it was Norway.
I think it's Norwegian. I can't remember if they did it as a company exercise or if it was just this group's personal style, but the outfits are amazing. I thought they looked really cool, and part of that was because the two styles actually worked together well. The colors worked that they chose.
Yep.
The blockiness and the rectangularness of the various elements blended together well. So from a purely aesthetic standpoint, it was a lock, So it's that. I think it's where I'm going with it.
I would also say, I'll bring you in a sec, Mac. I would also say that there are, you can do a tartan to represent two different heritages as well. Like there is a Chinese Scottish tartan.
Yep.
that Strathmore does.
Yep.
So there are, or a German heritage tartan, or other ones like tartans that represent different heritage, Nordic heritage tartan. Not that we would ever know who did that one, but there are different tartans that you can incorporate different symbolism into it, and then adding a little minor elements of the other culture into the outfit could actually add to it as opposed to compete with it. Mac,
That's exactly where I was going to go.
stole your thunder.
As soon as you wrote down, like, oh, there's that idea. But that's where I was going. Almost instead of you're going the other way around, using the kilt and using the either designing a pattern or getting something like German heritage that already exists, and then adding the accessories as whatever clan you are or whatever, and adding them in and flipping it that way.
Yeah.
But
The only thing I'd say would be, for some people that may not work from the standpoint of, by taking the elements of your other culture of choice and putting it into the kilt, it's kind of like you're subverting the culture in favor of the kilt. You're saying the kilt is a superior thing, and therefore we're going to put your culture inside the kilt. You see what I mean? As opposed to, like, if I was going to make a kosode out of tartan because I have mixed, Japanese and Scottish heritage, which would be interesting. In which case, you see what I'm saying? I think this definitely has to be a subjective thing. What's going to feel like the right balance to you? It's like, I mean, what, you're going to reduce my entire culture and all of my ancestry to just like a couple of lines of color in this thing that's from Scotland? That's almost insulting.
Understood.
See, I'm playing devil's advocate.
Understood. And then flip it. It could be insulting. No matter what you go, it's very much a personal balance. If you flip it the other way and you say, okay, I'm going to wear, kimono or whatever the other garment you said was. And
Kosode is the general term. Kimono is a very more specific term.
Okay. But I'm going to do that, but I'm going to wear a cap badge. Okay, so my entire Scottish culture is just, defined in a cap badge. It's no matter what this actually goes down to is you're always going to piss somebody off. No one's going to be happy with your decision. So don't try to make everybody else happy. Make yourself happy. So if you say, I want to do a 50-50 thing, great. If you want to do an 80-20 thing, great. If you want to do a 20-80 thing, great.
Yeah.
Do what you want to do within it, as long as you're being respectful and you're not, making a mockery of it or a caricature of the thing, then I'd say have at it. My only personal bugaboo is making sure that it doesn't compete with each other.
Just from a purely technical, aesthetic, visual standpoint, I think that's the key to looking sharp when you do this.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, this is not for gatekeepers. This is not for purists of any stripe. This is basically for people who are trying to have a syncretic feel and express themselves in that way.
Yeah.
So.
Agreed. Lodge.
That's a
Was
cool.
that you
That's a
or
really
Mac?
cool question.
Yeah.
That was Mac, actually.
Eric.
What? Yeah, I gotta stop doing
We'll do
that.
one more, then
That's
we'll
an
do
old
our midday.
Mr. Charles Bauer says, someday I anticipate serving as the master of my Masonic lodge. I have enjoyed wearing kilts to lodge meetings and envision wearing one to officer installation. The master traditionally wears a hat, but the Grand Lodge of Texas requires that the hat have a full brim and not be floppy. What hat should I wear for this purpose that would pair well with a kilt, or is this plan all folly?
Insert entire previous discussion here.
Oh, yeah.
So
Repeat
you're going to
the
be installed as a Grand Master in Masonic Lodge, and you want to represent your Scottish heritage. You want to have a kilt on, but you have to wear
required to wear a hat.
required to wear a hat with a stiff brim all the way around. I wouldn't wear. I would do one or the other, not both. This is an instance where I think it's not going to look good. It's neither fish nor fowl. So if you are going to be installed and the installation, the instructions for the installation say you must wear this style hat and it's going to look odd with a kilt, I wouldn't. I would make the kilt part of my legacy as Grand Master of the Lodge. I would wear it to all the meetings. I'd do it to all, to the other events. But where the rules specifically dictate you must wear this thing, i.e. hat with a stiff brim all the way around, I wouldn't wear it with a kilt because I think it would look like you're trying to force all the parts together and make it fit, where I don't think it would do either of them justice. Eric.
Or to go further, my thought is that you're trying to force your ego. I don't mean this to sound insulting to you, sir, specifically, but you're trying to force fit your ego and what you want to do onto the context of a very specific, very solidly established tradition of a specific occasion. There are times where we need to subvert our personal expressions to the context of the occasion. You know, like our example is like you don't wear flip-flops and a t-shirt and skater shorts to go visit the president. You know, that's not what you do. So it's one time. It's one occasion. I would say if that is the custom and you are expected to be there being installed as someone who is upholding the traditions of this organization, subvert your personal desires and just pay attention to the tradition of the occasion and the institution which you are now being selected to represent. Say that you are taking it seriously by doing so. You can wear the kilt other times, on less formal occasions or different occasions where there isn't a very precise dress code. Don't hog tie yourself to something for a one-time occasion.
Yeah, because
like am I making sense?
You are, and
Okay.
yeah, the Masons, are not known for their interest in traditions and symbolism. I mean, they not at all.
Okay, but they also don't take themselves as seriously as a lot of people think.
Yes,
Okay,
and
so
no.
his lodge may have a good sense of humor, and they might be fine with it. But this is different. This is like high-level function.
Agreed.
So
No.
my instinct is
in this way. The Masons that I know do take themselves very seriously, and when there is a dictum of "you will wear this to the lodge," that is what you wear.
Right.
Period. So I would say you can extract the word ego and just put in desire. It's not necessarily his ego.
Okay.
It could be, but it's not necessarily ego. It's what he really, really wants to do.
So id.
Yes,
as opposed
the
to ego.
id, exactly. Or super ego.
And the brimmed hat is the super ego.
Indeed. So yeah, I would say I would bow to tradition for that particular instance. They are honoring you as they are installing you as the Grand Lodge or Grand Master for the lodge. So I would definitely take it seriously in that way. I would do what the rules dictate for that particular thing. But then for all the lodge meetings, if you want to be the Grand Master who wears the kilt and who brought in more members and tried to showcase the kilt as part of your your Grand Masterful
Or if there's
lodges.
Scottish rite stuff
Yes.
involved, I guess.
Yeah.
You know?
Then I would save it for that. But for the initial thing, stiff brim hat.
Yeah, it's part and parcel to like if you're going to a wedding and the bride has said, I don't want anybody wearing anything other than suits. Please comply for the aesthetics of our occasion.
Yeah. Or you're invited
Don't be that guy,
Yeah.
and show up in a tracksuit. You know?
You're invited to a black and white party and you decide to wear tie-dye. Like you're that guy. Don't be that guy.
Yeah. Especially if you're supposed to be being put into a position of authority.
Yeah.
Sets a bad precedent.
Yeah, that's a fair point. That's
my
Because
main
if
point.
you're allowed to break the rules, isn't everybody allowed to break the rules? Yeah. Good point. Very good. All right. So the question of the day. It's going to come on the screen there at the bottom so I can remember what it was.
It's time for the question of the day.
Yes. How do you, so going back to the question we asked before, how do you maintain your enthusiasm for your heritage and for Highland dress? Back to the question that was asked by Scott.
Steve.
Steve, excuse me. How do you do it in your own life? Put your answers down in the comments. We are going to revisit this at the end of the show.
Yeah.
All right. Now that we are at the midpoint in the show, there's a little video we like to play. Roll it.
Hey guys, today lover of all things Scottish on the weekends. He never passes up a chance to wear the kilt and spends all the time he can focusing on his heritage. We are experiencing technical difficulties.
We're going to
Please
go ahead
stand
and
by.
restart that. Hold back.
Hey guys, today's ambassador is Texan Jim Cheney. Jim is an insurance trainer on weekdays and a passionate lover of all things Scottish on the weekends. He never passes up a chance to wear the kilt and spends all the time he can focusing on his heritage. Jim has a number of interests and hobbies, but the one that really caught my eye was his kilt pin collection. It's actually a recent fascination. Jim explains that up until recently, kilt pins were just part of his kilt wardrobe. Then in January of 2023, he was at a festival in Orlando, Florida, and came across some grouse claw pins for sale. He says, the kilt pin I wore when I got married was a grouse claw, but I had not seen one for sale in decades, so I bought one. Later that year, I saw some at a festival in Grapevine, Texas, and bought a couple more. That got the collecting started. Well, at time of writing, Jim has 133 vintage and antique kilt pins, with a special emphasis on grouse claws. Oh, and he also has about 21 modern pins that he wore before he started collecting, and it got a little out of hand. Most of Jim's finds come from Etsy or eBay and are part of estate sales. Jim started out by focusing on grouse claws, of course, but the more he learned, the more he was drawn to older pieces from the early 20th century or the 19th century. Now he's entirely focused on Victorian-era specimens. So how can you tell a pin is that old? Well, the secret to knowing you have a true antique is to look for the telltale kite marks or hallmarks on the reverse that indicate when the pin was made. From 1842 to 1883, Great Britain had a system of registering designs of objects made by craftsmen. Jim says it's basically kind of like a modern patent number. The kite mark is a triangle with a circle at the top. The mark does not tell you when the pin was made, but it does tell you when the design was registered. So here's an example. The number in the circle is the class or type of material, with 1 being metal. The W at the bottom is March. The 23 at the top is the day of the month, and the U on the right is the year 1874. So that design was registered on March 23rd, 1874, and the pin was made sometime after that date. Since they stopped using this system in 1883, it's a pretty safe bet that a piece with a kite mark was most likely made in the mid to late 19th century. Kite marks won't indicate if a pin is sterling silver, but it's usually a strong likelihood. Wondering which pin is Jim's favorite? Me too. Of course, he said you can't choose a favorite child, but, well, it's this one. A grouse claw pin whose design was registered in 1869. Hand-engraved sterling silver with 2 citrine stones. Beautiful. Thank you, Jim, for sharing your passion and a sneak peek of that amazing collection. Now, if you are interested in kilt pin collecting or just want to compliment Jim on his collection, check out the Facebook group Kilts and Culture. That's where we all meet to discuss nerdy stuff like this and enjoy the art that is Highland dress. Thank you for watching. That's fine.
So, here's to him. That's quite a face.
Jim, thank you for sharing
Sludge.
that.
Yes.
That got me more
Bequeath
psyched.
us.
The last thing I need is another hobby, frankly. But we just saw the tip of the iceberg of his stuff, and it's amazing. And I had no idea about the kite marks before my conversations with him. So it's super cool. It's super fascinating. And some of those designs are just, you do not expect them. Yeah, it's like I've seen stuff like that show up in thrift stores or something, and I swear it's like some costume jewelry from the 60s or 50s, and it's like now I'm realizing, holy crap, I may have just seen a real kilt pin from the turn of the century or something, and I didn't even know it.
Yeah.
But
to me, it's one of those where it's I don't want to go looking,
right?
Because I am not fast enough with the trigger finger on eBay, and I will overpay for things because I am way too competitive. And I'm like, no, I'm gonna pay $5,000 for this. I don't care. I'm gonna win. And then my wife will divorce me.
Well, Jim pointed out that basically you really need to do your homework and learn all you can before you get into this, because you will sometimes find similar pins for very different prices. And you got to be able to tell if it's like, did they not know what they have in the one case, or do they do know what they have, but they're, and you got to suss it out. It's a detective game, just with the visuals. So
Yep. Just like anyone who enjoys old stuff like that, you have to know all the details to know what you're looking at. And I would be remiss if I did not give a toast to Frank Fritz from American Pickers, who just died recently. So, yes, Frank Fritz. Good guy. Loved his oil cans. He knew a lot about a lot of stuff. Okay, random. Anyway, Mac, was the last one
the
you
last
or
one
Eric?
was me.
Okay, Mac.
Alrighty,
Hi,
so
Mac.
we have Brian asking, would you go hunting or fishing in a kilt?
Sure. But it depends on the type.
Yes. Depends on how long. If is it fishing on a boat? Sure. Is it wading into the river?
Maybe.
Maybe.
If you want to be bluffo traditionalist about it, you could
Yeah.
wear the kilt and get your legs wet. But I think most guys want waders
Yeah.
for that.
Yeah.
Like if you're fly fishing.
Yeah.
But fly fishing is very Scotch also. So
That's fair.
like Jacques Scott, that guy we used to know.
Yep. What about hunting in a kilt?
Depends on the kind of hunting. If you're staying in a tree stand, no. If you're doing grouse, pheasant shooting, then people have been doing that in a kilt for centuries.
Yeah.
Deer stalking in the Highlands, lots of guys used to do that and still do that kilted. But again, if you're in a tree stand like here in Pennsylvania, doing that kind of long, slow waiting style of deer hunting, I'd probably opt for pants of some kind.
Deer look up. Ah, no, he's wearing a kilt.
He died from fright. Didn't need a bullet or anything. You know what I'm saying?
I would say this for hunting in a kilt. It would depend on the time of year,
Oh yeah, definitely.
especially in Scotland. Midges, no.
Yeah, no.
No, I don't want biting flies going up the kilt. Yeah, so it would depend on the type of year for that hunting or just camping or that kind of thing in a kilt. Mac, do you want to say something?
I think it also depends on, like here we got to also worry about. I know in PA there's like regulations on how much orange you have too. So, like
Yeah.
there's certain qualifications that you're going to need to have to be able to do it. Now, fishing would be easy, especially if you're bank
Yeah.
fishing.
Yeah, bank fishing is no big deal.
Yeah.
Why not?
So, but yeah, I think hunting's where the question really comes.
I've
into
seen
play.
hunter orange kilts.
Yeah.
You know guys who've done that, so that's fine. Or you got enough orange on you otherwise, then
Yeah.
the kilt is just the kilt. But
Bright orange, hunter
Kilt
orange, kilt hose. Yep.
Yes, that's where I was going with it.
and there's one sporran that somebody made that has shotgun shell
Yeah.
holders
the
in it
front. Yep.
instead
Yeah.
of the tassels. That's kind of cool. So yeah, I think it just depends on the style of hunting and how ambulatory you're going to be and what the terrain is like. I mean,
Yeah.
some of the brambles and stuff around here, if I'm moving through the woods, I would
Ticks.
not end with ticks, and
Ticks.
a little further south of us, chiggers. I would not necessarily want to be kilted for that.
Yeah.
But for more open country, sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. All right, Eric.
All right. Alrighty then. Stu 2203. Roger that. Says, hey, I know this was in a video several years ago, but for someone working up the courage to go out in the kilt more often, where do you recommend going and how do you wear it? Full-on kilt, jacket, hose, and flashes, or just the kilt, the sporran, and a t-shirt with scrunched up hose and boots? I'm probably overthinking it, but I'd appreciate some pointers. So if you're trying to do this says more often, go out more often, screwing up courage. So we're talking about confidence building and
Right.
not your very first time, but maybe your
Yeah.
your
I would
adolescence.
I
as a
would
kilt
say
wearer.
this. We often say that the kilt you have a certain confidence. When you're wearing a kilt, your shoulders go back a little bit, your head, your back. You have a certain confidence level about you. The kilt doesn't necessarily the kilt itself doesn't give you confidence. The kilt just brings out the confidence that's already in you. It's the liquid courage, so to speak. So it's one of those things where it's already there. Either you have it or you don't. So I would say that you have to just it's that curb you have to get over, and you have to find your style. You have to find what is right and appropriate for you and or appropriate for the context. If I'm going to be going out to the grocery store, wearing a Prince Charlie jacket and vest, dress sporran, and ghillie brogues or buckle brogues, it's a bit much. You're going to get weird sideways glances like, what's going on? Not only because you're wearing a kilt, but because you look so formal. But maybe if you're wearing a kilt, you'll feel a little bit more confident if you're wearing a kilt and a t-shirt or sweater or sweatshirt or something and a pair of boots and crew socks. So it's all about context and finding your style within it to feel more confident in the way that you're presenting yourself within the world. Thoughts?
Yeah, the answer is yes. Just do both. I think that in some ways there is a power to going a little more formal when you're starting out, because people will either, you have a subconscious safety net of they're going to think I'm going to a special occasion. They're going to think that I have to dress this way because I have to do a thing, or they're going to think I'm a bagpiper. So if you need a little bit of a backdoor kind of, for your brain, you've got that. But it's also a power move. I mean, like if I care about getting better service, and this is a little bit crass perhaps, but if I care about getting better service at an establishment like a restaurant or a place of business, I do notice a difference if I'm wearing a tie. Honestly, if you go in there and you've got the power necklace made of cloth here, and you've got the kilt as well, people do tend to get a bit more deferential, I find. I mean, so it's a fact. So if you just go in, if you got like the scrunched up, boot, kilt hose and combat boots and the kilt and a t-shirt, they're just gonna think you're just doing it to be weird, or they're gonna think you're doing it for
attention or whatever.
For attention, like in a more juvenile sense. None of this, of course, is actually true necessarily, but the point is, if you can drive yourself crazy trying to think what other people are going to be thinking of what you look like or why you're dressed the way you are. But I would get used to moving through the world in all of those different ways of dressing, just because it's fun to see the reactions you get, and it can be just building your confidence as you go. And honestly, putting on more of an outfit it can be more psychic armor when you're starting out than going totally casual, in my opinion.
If I could bottle and sell one thing, it would be the 40s version of myself versus like the delta between the 40s version of myself and the late teens version of myself, of the not give a damn of what other people think of you. It's once you can get that through your brain, that the people that you're seeing at the grocery store, at the at the bus stop, at the restaurant, wherever it is, the people that you're seeing who judge you a little bit or a lot, they matter not. It does not matter what that person over there or that person over there thinks of you. It only matters what you think of you and your close circle think of you. If I do something horrid that offends somebody at the grocery store, I really don't care. If I offend my wife in that same way, I've really done something wrong. So it really doesn't matter what those people think of you. If you can get over that little thing, if you can just care less about others outside of a smaller circle, life gets a lot better. And you have a lot more fun doing what you want to do in life, period.
Yeah. And again, since this person, I guess, has already worn a kilt for a bit, but they're trying to get more into the groove, absolutely play around with different styles as you go. Make it a game. Different things for different occasions, different places you're going, and occasionally just choose something at random. Throw a random element into it and see what you think. And always look at yourself in the mirror before you get out the door. Wear the kilt around the house, like I always say, just so you get used to how it feels when you're moving, and when you're practicing sitting down and doing the sporran, arrangement and the apron arrangement when you sit down, stuff like that, so that it's not on your mind when you're out at the restaurant or whatever. And as we always say, it also helps if you go out with other people around you, whether they're kilted or not. Go out with your friends.
I would, and I'll take that direction and then go the exact opposite.
Please do.
As I do. I would say challenge yourself. Don't go out with friends. If you're going to go out to the store, then wear a kilt. Do it on purpose. Push your own comfort zone a little bit and say, all right, I have to go to the mall this weekend. Oh, I don't want to deal with people. You know what? I'm going to wear a kilt just to make myself do it. Force yourself to do things that are a little bit uncomfortable. You're not going to run around naked. Don't do that kind of thing. That's uncomfortable. But force yourself a little bit outside your comfort zone and see what happens. And then the more you do that and you realize nothing happened, the easier it becomes the next time you go to do it.
Yeah, I think there's room for both.
Yeah. Agreed. No, I agree. I'm saying, but you have to stretch the boundaries as well as be within the comfort zone. You want to be in your comfort zone and feel good and feel safe doing a thing, but then challenge yourself. Without challenges, life is nothing.
Yep. I've definitely done both.
Indeed. Cheers. All right. Was that you or Mac?
That was me.
All right, Mac.
All right.
Right.
We have a question for the crew.
The crew, like you guys back there.
Sure, we'll give
Yes,
it to
we're
them.
gonna poll
Okay.
the entire
Whoop,
building.
Yes.
Whoop.
For what historical event would you like to create a tartan, and what might your color and design choices be? So an
What
historical
event?
Oh, that's a good question. Oh my gosh.
Okay. I got Mac. Do you have one?
I have one, but you probably know my answer is already.
No.
Something that I've already kind of started working on.
What is yours?
The armistice.
Okay.
That's a good one.
What? Any?
It's a really good
What
one.
is your rationale? Don't just say the armistice.
So the armistice. So
it's gonna be a boring show with just short answers.
Yeah, well, I don't want to give too much away. I don't
Fair.
want anybody to steal it.
Okay.
So you got tons. Veterans Day is always Armistice Day is always, both those days are really big. Handing out poppies and stuff. So obviously, poppies, the colors of poppies would be involved with it, and
Okay.
Also dealing with the end of World War I, you're dealing with all kinds of, again, a war.
Injuries and war. And
A world war where you
Yeah.
have multiple nations there, so try to incorporate
Okay.
that as
Some
well.
colors or whatever.
Okay.
Or is the number 11 going to be involved?
It would
somehow?
have to be
11,
some way.
11, 11. Yep. All right, Eric. What event would you do?
This is hard to choose. The sacking of the monastery at Lindisfarne. No, that might piss somebody off. I've been really into ocean liners and stuff recently. So I would do, and there may already be one, frankly, now that I think about it, but I would do something to commemorate the sinking of the Titanic.
Okay.
We've just made a match.
Wait, what? Can you hand this
Put
to
it
me
on
some-
Max. Put it on Mac's camera. Yes.
There you go.
She actually wrote that Titanic would be hers.
Was
Okay.
that Kristen's idea?
Yes.
Okay. Can you lean in so you can people see your face for a second? It's like,
Hello.
hey, all right, that's Kristen, our new social media manager. You'll see her more and more as time goes on. Yeah, I would love to do a Titanic memorial tartan.
Would there
that would
be a section of brown, a thin section that's
For the
just
raft?
wide enough for one person to lay on the door and not two, because there was enough room for Jack? And what was she doing? All right. So
bitch.
Titanic.
No.
All right.
I'm trying to think. Colors would have to be black, gold, and red. The red was actually from a specific red, which was because of the oxide they used to prevent barnacle growth on ships. That's why bottoms of ships used to be red.
Okay.
So you'd have to have those colors, and then
Something for the rivets that gave way because they were faulty rivets.
no, that's a myth.
Okay. It's a myth.
Some numbers for the date. The date that went down.
Okay.
I have to think about it more, but yeah, that'd be a cool one to do.
Okay.
I would definitely do that one.
I would do.
Chris and I are a team now. We're gonna make this target.
So I would probably do the signing of the Declaration of Independence.
Yeah, but
Because
don't
care. I'll come up with another one.
Okay.
The
Adam has one for you.
Great Emu War. Yes, indeed.
Adam has no idea why that's funny to me.
Yes. So I would do one for the signing of the Declaration of Independence for the was it 56 signers were Scottish or no 56 signatures. But
Every single one of them.
yeah, every single one of them. No, a lot of them were Scottish. So there's
Yes,
definitely
I forget the
a
number.
Scottish influence in the founding of the nation. So I would do something of great import, not the Great Emu War, but I would do something for signing a declaration. That would be mine.
There's so many though.
Yeah.
There's so many things that would be cool. I mean,
Yeah.
holy cow! Pick it out of a hat, man. I mean,
Yeah.
the Wright brothers' first flight. Carter opening King Tut's tomb. The Great Emu War, for instance, of 1875.
We have Aaron on here saying the fall of the Berlin Wall. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
The sinking of Edmund Fitzgerald.
Oh,
clo-
that's a good one.
Yes. The founding of Action Park in New Jersey. That's
I was going more with like I've always wanted to do something for the storming of Iwo Jima.
Okay.
I was thinking more of a sporn design, but like either that or VE Day.
Mm-hmm.
I think, or D-Day. I wanted to do a D-Day tartan for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another one. I mean, there's so much to choose from. Holy cow!
A memorial tartan for the Battle of Leroy Jenkins. That clip lives rent free in my head forever.
As it should.
And
Yeah, it
every
is a
time
classic.
someone asks us on TikTok Live for Jenkins, that's
like,
all that plays in my
Leroy
head.
Jenkins. Yes, absolutely. All right.
You know, his friends didn't even know what the hell he was doing when he did that, or why he.
If you've never seen the clip of Leroy Jenkins, just Google Leroy Jenkins. Yes.
That's ancient internet history now.
It is. It is. It's lore at this point. Okay. All right. Very good.
Gosh, Rourke's Drift.
Here it goes back to series.
Yeah, well, I'll be on this for hours.
I mean, the comment, they're just...
yeah,
people
man.
are-
What are people saying?
So we got Pearl Harbor now. Of
course, yes.
We have the moon landing.
Okay.
Birthright sort of does that, but
So is Lunar. Yeah.
So that seems to be the newest ones that just came in. Somebody said about maybe the formation of the states.
Okay,
So
okay.
there's,
that
there's-
happened over time though, so
Yeah.
that'd be a hard
Yeah.
one. But
Yeah, but it's still. Somebody just said Iwa.
Iwo Jima. Yep.
So, yeah.
That was my other one was Iwo Jima or Sinai Declaration.
Salem Witch Trials just came in from my right.
Yes.
oof, dark.
Yeah. Indeed. Okay. Very good. Tell us down in the comments what historical event you would design a tartan for and why. Lodge. All right, Eric.
Okay. All right. The restoration of the monarchy after Cromwell and those damn Puritans were defeated. God save the king. All right. Colton Cunningham has a technical fashion question. With tartan trews or trousers, should you wear kilt length jackets or Saxon length jackets? That's a easy one.
Yes.
We have opinions about this.
Tartan trews or trousers, not the same thing.
Not the same thing.
Would you wear Saxon, like longer, like regular suit jacket, or a kilt length jacket, shorter in the body, regular length on the sleeves? With one, the other with the other. So when you're talking trews, those are high-waisted. Generally, fishtail, there can be fishtail back, but high-waisted, you would wear those with kilt jackets. So either Braemar, Argyle, Prince Charlie, something like that. For tartan trousers, it just means pants. So if you're wearing a pair of pants, I would not wear it with a high-waisted Prince Charlie jacket and coatee.
Nope.
Or coatee and vest and that kind of thing, or waistcoat. I would wear, a regular suit jacket with that. I will get on my soapbox now for a second. When the thing that I've noticed about trews, high-waisted trews, they look better on skinny guys, not nearly as good on bigger-waisted guys. So when my waist was a 42, 43-inch waist, we had a photo shoot at Kimberton Inn where I had on the German Heritage trews. I hated them as soon as I put them on. I was like, oh, I need a pair of trews. And I got them for the photo shoot. I wore them for the photo shoot. Hated how they looked in the photos. Hated them there as I was wearing them looking in the mirror.
Yep.
And said, nope, this is done. As soon as the photo shoot's over, I put them on the rack in the store. I do not want them at that size. So bigger guys... it is very, very difficult for a big guy to look good, one man's opinion, in trews with a shorter jacket. Tartan trousers, whole different story. Tartan trousers, anybody can wear a pair of tartan trousers. They don't need to go up as high. So tartan trousers, sky's the limit. Have at it. Yeah, I'm going to step off the soapbox now. Eric, thoughts?
I agree. I always say that basically trews are basically a survival from a period of time from the Napoleonic age, and cavalry uniforms up through like the 1850s when there were very, very tight fishtail trousers that were gentlemen's wear. I think that's correct, Mac. And they tend not to look great on a lot of guys. I mean, I always say, Victorian person I am, you look like Tweedledee and Tweedledum with them on. I'm not joking. I myself have worn tartan trousers with a kind of a more of a fogey 1940s kind of a vibe that I did once, and we do have pictorial evidence of that. So yeah, much more forgiving. And yeah, if you're going to dress formal, I would definitely do that or go with the kilt. If you want to have formal Highland wear, don't do the trews. Seriously.
But I wouldn't wear tartan trousers for formal.
I've seen it for wedding stuff, like contemporary wedding stuff with
contemporary, sure.
It's with a matching pocket square and
yeah. It's you're on your yacht in the Hamptons, kind of thing, but it's not formal in my mind. Tartan trews would be formal, but again, bigger guys, not as flattering.
Yep.
Yeah.
So basically, yeah.
Yep.
Don't do it.
Hope that helps, Mr. Mack.
All right, so we have Maddie asking, is there a difference between classic Highland wear as worn in the 1920s to 1950s and contemporary Highland wear? For example, dress shirts with concealed button plackets and ghillie brogues appeared in about the mid-1950s. Even if you look at pictures in old catalogs, you'll notice that shirts worn for formal dress have studs. They don't always dress sporns in contemporary definition, so they don't always wear the dress sporns in there.
Correct. So is there a difference between contemporary there and or formal there and dressy there and contemporary now? Yeah. Fashions change. With Highland wear, fashion evolves much slower. It is always pulling from tradition, and it always should pull from tradition. It should always have those stalwarts, the standard bearers, who say, no, this is how it was done. But it still needs to evolve over time. So there's always going to be a contingent of people who like the more 1920s, 1950s look of Highland wear and enjoy that and keep it there. And there should be some people to continue doing that, but kids are not necessarily going to want to look like that or look Victorian. They're going to want to look a little bit more contemporary. As they age, they may find an appreciation for some older things and find some appreciation for some antique items from the Victorian era, from the 1920s, 1930s. And that's cool as well in a different way. You don't have to be one or the other. You can do, one for this occasion, one for that occasion. Eric, thoughts?
No notes.
None.
Yeah. I mean, we've said before that basically you have a certain very solid column of traditional Highland dress as the national dress of Scotland, which is very, very rooted in like the 1920s and 1940s. Hasn't changed much at all since then. But then people tweak it all the time. Like you made the point about the placket covered, the placket shirt versus studs. Yeah, little things like that come and go, but the basic lines and the basic cuts are pretty set in stone at this point, I think. So, no real. Your observation is correct.
I would.
Is there stuff that should change, or is there anything that's radically changed since then? I don't know.
I would point out that there are things that things go through fashion changes and things evolve over time slowly in Highland wear, but there are things that will be accepted, generally speaking, into Highland wear, and things that will just be a flash in the pan. For instance, love 'em or hate 'em, Highland shirts. Love 'em or hate 'em, ghillie brogues. Love 'em or hate 'em, as you indicated, the button or the plackets on the hiding the studs or hiding the buttons on a shirt. All of those things, one man's opinion, have kind of stood the test of time, and they're kind of become part of Highland wear, whether you want to wear them or not, immaterial. They are, generally speaking, accepted. Now, going a different direction, let's say solid black kilts, or the shadow tartans.
Yeah.
Less accepted. They were a little bit more of a flash in the pan.
Trendy.
Black metal finishes as opposed to chrome or antique, like the black metal finish. Again, trendy for a very, very brief period, but things have moved beyond it. So there are things within Highland wear that will kind of get bolted on, or the general zeitgeist is, that one's actually okay. That's a pretty good idea. Let's include that into what is the uniform, so to speak. And then there's other things that it's like, Yeah, it's cool. And that feels dated now. Forget
not
it.
cool
Let's
anymore.
move beyond it now. Indeed.
Yep.
So, yes, I think the placketed buttons, definitely here to stay. Ghillie brogues, here to stay. But other things, a little bit more of a flash in the pan.
I have to confess, I don't really like ghillie brogues much.
Yeah.
They're okay, but
You know what I hate? Buckle brogues. Let them die and rot in hell.
You've never said that before.
No.
Wow.
Breaking news.
I wish you would tell me these things.
I don't like buckle brogues. No.
Okay.
Eric.
It's my turn.
Yes.
Who knew X508? If that is your real name. Says, you've told us before what happens to the colors of red, green, blue, and yellow with each tartan color palette. How it changes. I would love to know what happens to colors like purple, black, and brown. So more unusual, shall we say, primary colors. What happens when you change from the modern color palette to the other palettes?
Sure. So, tartans, clan tartans. Let's start a little bit more basic. Clan tartans have color palettes. So, ancient, modern, weathered, and muted are generally speaking the four accepted air quotes color palettes. It's the same tartan. It's just a shift on the color. So, modern meaning navy blue, bottle green, scarlet red, very very bold colors. Ancient are lighter pastel-y kind of colors, so like a light grassy green, a light sky blue, an orangey kind of red. Muted are an olive green, a stormy sky blue, a blood red,
A little more jewel tone.
a little more jewel tone, exactly. Weathered, you're looking at more of greens become browns, blues become kind of grays, and the red becomes more of a salmony, pinkish kind of salmon color. So it's the same tartan. If it's McDonald, modern McDonald, ancient McDonald, weathered, it's all the same thread count. It's all the same tartan. It's just a color shift of the palette. In the same way, a Jeep Wrangler in blue is the same as a Jeep Wrangler in green or red. It's just a different color. That said, what happens when you have magenta or purple, or you have what do you say, black,
And
pink,
brown.
black, brown, and
Purple is the one I said.
okay. Black is the only one of those that is commonly used in old-timey clan tartans, for the most part. Clan tartans don't have, generally speaking, a lot of purple or a lot of brown as a standard recorded in the tartan register thing. They do have black. So black in ancient, black in muted, black in modern is pretty much black. The only time black changes from black is in weathered. The mills tend to do charcoal versus black to sort of make it a little bit more earthy, like it's been aged out in the sun over time. There are only 2 tartans I can think of that have purple or magenta kind of colors on them. Mac, maybe you can think of some as well. The 2 that came to mind were Baird and Kennedy.
I said Kennedy is what came to my head.
Yeah. So when you look up Kennedy modern or Kennedy ancient or Kennedy muted or Baird ancient modern muted, they have like a magenta purpley kind of color in it. That's the only 2 that came to mind that have any kind of purple as a clan tartan.
Yeah.
Now, when you move to weathered, which is, again, a construct of the mill, it is a way to sell more tartan. Kennedy, Lochcarron's the only mill that does Kennedy in a weathered color palette. They changed from magenta to like a pink kind of color. I don't think they do a Baird weathered. So Max over there furiously looking for other tartans.
I'm looking.
So generally speaking, clan tartans don't use a lot of purple or brown as a base color in the clan tartan. Now, contemporary tartans do. So whether it's like, the Noble Stag tartan or American Dream or tartans that are, or Scotland Forever, things like that, start with a tartan and color symbolism for a reason. So I'll use Scotland or Lochcarron's Scotland Forever tartan. they do it. That is a purple tartan. And when they changed it to Scotland Forever Antique. Then they changed it to like gray and other colors. They kind of play with it, but it is very, very much just what looks good and will sell. There's no reason, there's no law, there's no rule that they have to. If they change it to antique, they must change the purple to a mauve, or the purple to this shade of turquoise, or this shade of purple from that shade of purple. Nope. It's at this point, it's just what looks good. The whole reason for the color shift from what we now call modern to ancient to muted to weathered was just to give people more options for their clan tartans. Originally, it was whatever the mill decided was the green, the blue, the red. That's what they offered for MacDonald, for Stewart, for Campbell, for Farquharson, whatever. And then as the mill in the early 1900s, 1920s started saying, like, hey, let's play around with the colors. And we're going to do an ancient version to the modern, or the modern version to the ancient. And they start playing with the color palettes and alkaline dyes and things like that. That's when things started to evolve. So, yeah, it's not, there's no hard and fast rules. It's evolution. That's all this is. It's the mills playing with clan tartans, and then giving you more option within the clan tartans. When the mills have realized that they've kind of, to some degree, satiated market with clan tartans, then cool, let's design new tartans and fashion tartans. Tartans around Scotland, tartans around regions, tartans around just ideas or concepts, or just fun stuff that we're just going to design a pretty thing and then give it a name. So there's no rule that you have to follow a certain set thing or set pattern. Eric.
What?
Yes.
Yeah, I can't really add to that. I think that's basically it. The modern, ancient, blah, blah, blah palettes are kind of obsolete. I think the art form has evolved so rapidly in the past 30 years or so that you couldn't possibly come up with all the variety that you have if you didn't just kind of ignore that and go with different colors and stuff and just mix it up and break those rules. Because they were never really rules to begin with, like you said. So, yeah, that's why.
Yeah, like and companies
no notes,
can
really.
and companies can play with it. Like we did our Nordic Heritage tartan. We had color symbolism in all of the colors that Eric and I designed with the Nordic Heritage tartan. And eventually, I just kind of played around with it, and I was just like, you know what? What would this look like if it was a weathered color palette? So we designed something and did a custom run of Nordic Heritage in weathered, but there's not the same gravitas to the color meanings that we put into the original thing.
Yeah,
it's just kind of
you lose all that.
We wanted to play with it and see what it would look like with more grays and browns than blues and marled grays.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it's true.
Excellent. Cheers. All right, was that you or Eric, or you or Mac?
That was me.
Okay, Mac.
All right, so we got a fun little one here for Rocky.
Uh-oh.
That
I'm going to take a break then.
This will test his Disney knowledge.
Oh, no.
I have none.
So we have Colton asking. He says his wife is watching for the very first time, and her question is, they're going to Disney Dapper Day and wanting to represent some characters. He will have on the Appalachian folklore. Then what Disney character should he represent?
It's your Disney bounding.
Yes.
Okay.
It's like...
For Appalachian folklore,
Yes.
Glomgold. I would say Scrooge McDuck's nemesis. Didn't he have a brownish kind of tartan? A brown with green lines?
Yeah, I think it
I
was.
think
the,
it does.
the
I think it
peanuts
was.
over here are saying yes.
Yeah.
I know what somebody at the end of the table would say.
Okay. What's that?
Well, the Shrek would definitely come up at the far end of the table. Here.
Okay. Yeah. That's a Disney. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I'm getting corrected.
Yeah.
Well, corporate
Yes.
wise,
Yeah.
I think it is
Yes.
All right,
now.
Mac. What are yours?
See, I would go to Robin Hood.
Okay. Okay.
Or Little
Sherwood
John.
Forest. Yeah. But did they wear like? Are we specifying a Disney character that wore a kilt?
Not wear a kilt,
just
but just
in general?
just the
vibe.
Yeah, the vibe.
Got it. Okay. Then Robin Hood. Fine. I like that idea for
So
Appalachian.
wait, so wait. This is has to be the Appalachian tartan.
He's wearing the
wearing it,
Appalachian.
So he's trying to figure out what character to emulate.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say Robin Hood definitely goes well.
Boba Fett or Greedo, because now Disney owns Star Wars.
Okay.
For
Very
disclosure, I really don't care about Disney. I'm not a Disney person,
Yeah,
so I'm talking out of my hat.
me neither. I've told my kid that Disney, when your friends say that they've gone to Disney, they're lying. Disneyland doesn't actually exist. As a parent, I do not want to go to Disney. I remember when I was 11 or 12 and my brother was 9 or 10, my parents took me to Disneyland. I was not a Disney kid. I enjoyed DuckTales, but that was about it. Woohoo, yes, indeed. And my parents took me to Disneyland, and I remember specifically, vividly, wanting to go to the arcade in the hotel with my brother, and my father being livid and like, I spent all this money to get. I'm like, well, dude, you brought us to Disneyland, and we hate Disneyland. We wanted to go on Space Mountain because it was a roller coaster, and that was it. Like Space Mountain and the arcade. Hard stop. That was the extent. Well, I like seeing MGM and Planet EO or whatever that thing, the Michael Jackson movie thing. That was fun. But outside of that, zero interest in Disney. Zero. I'm sorry, I've outed myself as a Disney hater. But yeah, that's
Would
how I feel about
Appalachian
it.
folklore work for the brave characters a little bit?
Yeah, we've got
Yeah.
that in the comments
the
here.
green, that'd probably work okay.
But there are a lot of blues in the movie Brave. So
Yeah, I
okay.
always think of green. I think of the main characters, red hair.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
I'm trying to think of something else.
All right. Yeah, that's about it.
Okay.
So I hope that helped. Not
Don't
at
wanna-
all.
don't
You
wanna
probably
talk
hate
about
us now.
Disney anymore.
I'm sorry. I've ruined her first time watching the show. Yep. We've given enough free publicity to Disney because they can't afford it. Disney should sponsor us. Well, not after that review. Never mind. All right, Eric.
Don't get in bed with the mouse.
Yes.
Bad idea. Bad move.
Oh, we own your company now. Oh.
David Nair says, talk about your fondest memory of being kilted. A special concert, a wedding, a day when you found confidence in being as awesome as you want to be. And related to that, what is your preferred way to wear the kilt? To the nines with a PC, or rough and tumble with a t-shirt, or something in between? So, your fondest memory of wearing the kilt. At the time, that was really cool, and wearing the kilt.
Yes.
Mr. Rager, the court will now listen.
I would say a fond memory of wearing the kilt. I think the easy answer is wedding.
I knew it. Yeah,
But-
of course you're going to go there.
But I think it's a false positive. I think like when I got married, I remember all of our wedding photos. I look good in the wedding photos. I look confident. I look like borderline cocky in the wedding photos. It's kind of default state sometimes, but no, I felt more confident than I normally do. But I think that's just less to do with the kilt and more to do with my emotion on the day. So I think it's almost not a cop-out answer, but it's too easy of an answer. The first times wearing the kilt, you still get that thrill of like the first few times, 8, 5, 6, 10 times you wear the kilt, you have that like, ooh, this is different, this is fun. Like you have that excitement in it. So I would have to say like thinking like in the fullness of time, to quote a friend of mine, what is the outside of the first few times wearing the kilt and the wedding, what is the time where you're like, yeah, I feel good?
No.
I would say the first time giving a speech for the St. Andrew Society.
Oh, okay.
I would say
Okay.
like the I felt of import. I felt I'm up in front of a group of people who want to hear what I have to say. I'm on display, so to speak. So I had to dress to the nines for that, feeling like I needed to look my best on the day. So I would say that would be my first one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Eric.
Oddly enough, I tend to prefer dressing up more with kilts nowadays, but back in the day, many moons ago, just random memory that came to my mind when I was thinking about the question was there was a festival here in this area called the Firebird Festival. And once upon a time, before it got too big and people got too worried about safety, when they burned this big giant effigy of a bird, people would they have a drum circle and stuff, and people would start dancing around it, and really close to it, like sparks falling on you and stuff. And I remember like the first time I ever went to that, I was kilted and had my family, and I have a vivid memory of being one of the few kilted people present because it's in December, and I'm just grooving, dancing around this burning giant phoenix bird. Half the time with my daughter on my shoulders doing that thing, and just like felt so primal in that moment, just like, like you'd expect from a dark Yuletide kind of joyous festival, and just that moment of like being really present. And I remember looking over and seeing finally there was like one other guy in a kilt, and just kind of we clocked each other, just like, yeah, brother,
Yeah.
And so that was a good memory. I really enjoyed that then. It's such I do it so often. It's hard for me to pick out moments.
Yeah, I'm thinking.
I've attended weddings in a kilt. I was not kilted at my own wedding.
Yeah, but it doesn't give me like superpowers like that.
No.
For me, it kind of comes from within. I would say the other. I'll do the awe thing again. The when Liam started working here over the summer for his first summer job and doing some social media stuff with him. In the
Was it the wrong time?
So I would say like now as father, I would say going into that mode of seeing him wearing the stuff and enjoying the thing and having fun with it as well.
Yeah,
that's the I
get that.
Gets you in the memories.
Mm-hmm.
Mac, do you have any particular?
I think, like you said, you can't. Obviously, the wedding you can't pick. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I like even going back to as soon as last weekend, meeting a gig when he came up to us. He was a gentleman that from North Carolina.
Tim.
Oh, Tim.
Yeah.
Yeah, he came up and telling me a story about him sitting there in the hospital, and he suffered a stroke, and he did inform me that he was not having one at that point, which did bring a chuckle. But just hearing his story and what just watching us on this little platform did for him and his confidence and his just to get his mind off of what was going on, like that put a different perspective on things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I will say
Mm.
it's not me wearing the kilt, but I'm usually kilted when I hear the stories.
Yes.
Is hearing other people's stories of what it means to them and what we do in making their kilts for them, in letting them express their heritage, in hearing our little ramblings and rants here on this. That probably meant more to me, and in meeting Gig
agree.
in the store.
Yeah.
Gig is a super nice guy.
Oh, amazing.
His wife drove him up here from North Carolina. He suffered a stroke. He loves watching the show. So Gig, if you're watching, howdy. And it was like weirdly emotional. Him, coming to the store and seeing where everything was made and getting to meet us and talk to the people. And like that, like he got emotional, which got me emotional. That, I don't think I've ever been like choked up meeting someone telling me their story before.
Yeah.
In the same way I got choked up with Gig. So, dude, Gig's an awesome guy.
Yeah.
I like Gig.
Yeah, that's not about a moment when you were wearing a kilt and it was kilt related per se, but it's absolutely about what we do here. I think it's about the bond,
Connection.
the culture, and the decision to do it brings to you. I mean, the fact that you've committed to being part of this brotherhood. It's a bigger gestalt.
And helping others.
And helping others, within that sphere,
Yeah.
It's like the connections you make with it are more important than the,
Yeah.
Totally get it.
I'm stealing
Totally
your
agree.
answer, Mac.
Yeah, thanks, Mac. I'm stealing Mac's answer too.
It's one of those. As soon as I got home and was talking to my wife about the event, that
Yeah.
was the story I had to tell.
Yep. Indeed. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Good question. Was that you or Mac?
That was mine.
Yep.
You. Mac.
You all right over there?
Children.
All right, so we have Andrew. He's actually watching us from South Africa. So he's I know this has been asked before, but he's just got a old fur blah blah blah. I can speak.
Yes.
An old fur day sporran, and the leather is incredibly tough. Any ideas or suggestions to help soften that leather?
Old
Yeah, how
fur.
old?
And that's old.
Are we talking
Day
desiccated?
And
I mean,
he said the fur is tough or no?
The leather is incredibly tough.
It's
is this
fur.
is it an antique or
I'm gonna guess
said
it's
old,
if
so.
it's old. So
I would use all of this. I would say full disclaimer. I have no idea what I'm talking about.
sure?
But
you have all that.
I would say get a good quality leather conditioner and start on the. Here's where I would start on the. Give me a full head to toe here. Start on the inside of the flap and inside of the flap here to see if it's going to mess with the color at all. So the inside of your sporran, I would do leather conditioner up at the folded area and or the inside of the flap. If it does not screw with the color, if it doesn't darken everything, then I would say potentially do the back of the sporran and or the sides. Obviously, don't if you have a fur front to the sporran, don't use leather conditioner on fur, but I would go the sides and the back. But I would start with the inside, and then my only concern is with what the leather conditioner would do rubbing against the front of his kilt. That would be my only concern.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
You get that? Yeah, that could be. Ugh.
So
Now, I think if the leather is really really dry, it's going to absorb a lot of it, and it may
Yeah.
not be an issue.
yeah.
And I would use neatsfoot oil. That's what I would start with. Yeah.
There's leather conditioner, like there's leather honey is one product I've used.
That's a good one.
So there's other things other than neatsfoot oil which soften it and make it more pliable. There's leather conditioner which will go in and just make it more supple and bring it back to life a little bit. I mean, this sporran here, I've beaten the hell out of this thing, and I've used leather conditioner on this, and it's
come out fine.
reinvigorated it.
Yeah, I thought
exactly.
you had some well for
Yeah.
that one.
So yeah, and I've used this on the back, and I've not had a problem with any of my sporrans.
Because if it's really dry, it's going to absorb all the oils. It's
Now,
probably not a
needs foot oil, I would be maybe a little concerned with, or if you're doing it on the flap, if it lets the leather stretch a little bit. But conditioner shouldn't let it stretch. It should just give more moisture to the thing, like hair conditioner kind of thing.
Yep.
So
I would
yeah.
only add that if it's really old, you may also be reaching a point where is the fur starting to desiccate and shed? Is the stitching getting rotten? I'd be very worried about that, and you may be at a point where if you're emotionally attached to it, maybe you keep it for the sentimental value, but maybe it's not worth trying to keep it going for daily wear or even occasional wear if those other things are happening. I mean, that stuff's going to break down. I would look for stress points, see if there is any damage to the stitching or anything like that. Mac, you look like you were gonna.
No, I agree with the stitching could be that could be a serious concern.
Yeah.
yeah.
All of a sudden you just bloop,
Yeah, exactly.
falls apart.
Seriously. Mm-hmm.
Maybe for maybe if it's an older sporran, maybe you retire it and or wear it. If you have, let's say, your grandfather's kilt, maybe you do a shadow box thing with an old kilt and your old sporran. Yeah. Maybe you just kind of relegate it to only super special occasions, not daily wear kind of thing. Maybe you purchase a new and or similar sporran from usakilts.com. Had to do it. No, but or you have a custom-made sporran to look like the old sporran.
Yeah. People do that.
Yeah,
People do
exactly.
that.
Maybe you do something.
Who did that?
Yeah, who did
Rebagging.
that? Not Mac. Maybe you do something a little like that to kind of pay homage to it and have something, new or old that's new again.
Right.
Without wrecking your original one and give it, brand new life by having a brand new sporran. Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you really like the style, maybe you can find something similar or have it made similar.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yes.
Hope that helps. All right.
All right, Eric. We'll do one more from you, and we'll see if we have time for one more from Mac. Not an unnatural pause at all.
Out to Pastor mentioned that they're getting really into their Irish heritage, and they found their family is from the Ulster region. Specifically South Derry and East Tyrone. So they're going to put together just one kilt wearing outfit. What do we suggest as the necessary components to go with an Ulster kilt if you're only going to have one outfit? So what do you do if you're only going to have one kilt, one kilted outfit to go around that kilt?
Full head to toe.
Yeah.
I would do this. I would start with a I'm going to expand his scope a tiny bit. Full kilted outfit and maybe duplicate a couple things. The kilt is beautiful as a garment in the fact that it is the most versatile garment that you will ever own. You can wear an 8-yard, a full 8-yard traditional kilt to a wedding, and you can wear it to a Celtic festival or the pub. It is a very, very versatile thing. So I would start formal and say, okay, what is the most formal that I am going to be in this? Is that a Prince Charlie jacket and vest because I'm going to go to black tie events? Or, no, I'm not that hoity-toity. I would only do like a nice day at church. Okay, fine. If it's going to be a nice day at church or it's going to be a wedding as a guest, then maybe a tweed jacket and vest. But I would think, what is the dressiest you want to be and build that outfit first. Once you have that outfit kind of sussed out, then I would add to it. So, because it's going to add versatility. So if you're wearing let's go full formal. Prince Charlie jacket and vest, dress sporran, the whole nine. Now, if I want to go to the opposite end of the scale and I want to wear it to a Celtic festival and I want to wear a t-shirt with it, what parts am I missing or what parts would look a little bit off?
Spats.
Spats would definitely be off.
Oh.
So I would say if you're going to wear it formal, you wouldn't buy a belt. So maybe I would buy a belt and buckle for wearing as more casual, more day wear kind of thing. If you're going to have a dress sporran for formal, maybe you get a day sporran for wearing it more casual with a belt and buckle and a t-shirt or a sweater or something like that. So I would buy items that allow it to be more versatile and be able to be flexed up or flexed down and have different levels and different levels of versatility within the outfit.
Right.
Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, or if maybe not the most formal, at least go for a good tweed set. Oddly enough, sometimes tweeds will cost more than a standard Prince Charlie or the Irish equivalent of the the Brian Boru jacket. So yeah, I agree with that, and don't sell yourself short in terms of, oh, I just need one kilt outfit, because I'm not going to get any other kilt, and I don't know how often I'm going to wear it. You're going to find more occasions to wear it. So you're going to want more stuff in time. That's the whole eating peanuts thing. Once you've got the formal stuff taken care of, a lot of these things, these bits and bobs, are not nearly as expensive by comparison or as much of a leap. So, yeah, just take it one thing at a time.
Yeah, you can absolutely bolt on later on.
Yeah, exactly. Bolt on.
Start
bolt
with
on.
the highest
That's a good
end
expression for it.
and then bolt on later. But to your point about the tweed jacket and vest, if I'm just going to have the Prince Charlie for full formal, but I still want something that's like a nice churchy kind of outfit or whatever, maybe you just do a tweed vest. It's it's not nearly as expensive as a jacket and vest, but it still gets you 2/3 the way there. So yeah, there are different ways to play with it. It's all about making it your personal heritage expression. It's all about your style and being able to play around with it to express yourself in a way that you are comfortable, but still pays homage to what you're trying to accomplish in expressing your heritage.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. That.
Boom.
All right. Mr. Mack, we'll do one more.
All right, so we have Jay asking. He's going to the Royal Edinburgh Military Tattoo next August, and will be sitting in the VIP seats.
Ooh.
So he's special.
Nice.
Would it
Can
be?
I come?
Yeah.
Right.
I take up
How
a
do
little
you
bit of room in
plan
a
anything that
suitcase.
far in advance? I still can't wrap my head around that. How does anybody do that?
You kind of have to.
I
for
guess
certain
you do. I'm
things.
just
Yeah.
not very good at that. Anyway.
Would it be acceptable for him as an American to wear a Prince Charlie outfit?
It's outdoors. Would you really be wearing a PC?
I don't think I would. Would it
I
be
wouldn't wear a
acceptable?
PC.
Sure.
Yeah.
Your nationality, frankly, has nothing to do with it. Whether it's you're American, Australian, or Nicaraguan. I would say it's the event itself that dictates what you would do.
Yeah.
The blackest that I would go for a jacket would be an Argyle, probably. I think a Prince
Yeah.
Charlie would be overkill because it's not. I don't think it's formal.
Yeah, I don't know what VIP means in this context,
Yeah,
but I don't think
yeah.
it's not like a St. Andrew's dinner. It's still a festival atmosphere. You're still out of doors with lights and a big ta-da show going on and stuff. Maybe VIP in terms of like you get the preferred visuals and easier access and those kinds of perks. Honestly, I would go with tweeds if it were me.
Yeah.
I wouldn't
Yep.
go with a PC or anything. You're going to look like you're trying too hard, in my opinion, my personal opinion.
A lot, I would say, wherever you bought your tickets, maybe ask them what's the preferred level of formality. If you can, find older videos on YouTube, see what the patrons who are there are wearing. Of course, you're going to see a lot of people in, t-shirts and parkas if it's rainy, or jeans and that kind of thing. But I would say try to see what the other people are wearing to the event. Mac, you have your finger up.
All right, so
Here we go. He's
I
gonna give
looked
us
it
the-
up.
Here are the
So
deets.
this includes a VIP seat to the Royal Gallery, which offers great views of the performance at Edinburgh Castle. Guests will also receive an invitation to a post-show drinks reception with the tattoo cast. The Royal Gala has a dress code of dress uniform, national dress, evening dress, or business attire.
Evening
National dress or evening dress.
or business attire.
Or business attire.
Yeah, that's a really flexible
That's a-
dress
yeah,
code.
that's pretty flexible.
That's a very broad dress code.
That's the Gumby of dress codes. I'd say you're probably safe with tweed as business dress, meaning suit. I'm assuming.
I would still do tweed because it sounds weird, but I mean anybody can pick up a PC or an Argyle, especially the black with the chrome buttons. It's what you see in rental stores. I think tweed is going to make you look smarter. It's going to look. I mean, I would make sure your color coordination is down perfect. Make the perfect tie, perfect flashes or garter ties. Just do the whole outfit. Absolutely brilliant. But I'd go with tweed. Color coordinate. That's how you're going to look sharp, like you know what you're doing and you're not a tourist. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but that dress code is ridiculously wide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I-
like, they're just trying to say, don't wear a t-shirt. Don't wear a polo shirt for this.
Now, I would say the middle of that dress code, to be safe, is probably Argyle.
I agree.
Because the bands are going to be, a lot of them are going to be in Argyles or something similar. Maybe some of them are going to be in
You're
tweeds
meeting a
and stuff.
cast. You're not meeting
Understood.
royalty. I mean,
Understood. If I'm going to wear a tweed, which frankly I probably would, I probably wouldn't do tattersall to that. I would
No.
probably wear a solid color shirt.
yes.
Maybe a club tie.
Yes.
Or a solid color tie. I wouldn't do too flamboyant,
No.
too crazy. I wouldn't want to try to be the peacock amongst the peacocks.
No.
I wouldn't
No,
wear
you
a
just want to be.
full.
We're talking old money sharp.
Yes, I
Like,
wouldn't
very
wear.
sharp. The details are just dress like His Royal Majesty. Okay. Look at all the pictures of Charles and emulate how he dresses.
To a fancier event, not a games.
Yeah.
There's a difference between how Charles would dress to a Highland Games versus how he would dress to a
But
tattoo
this
or to a
feels
formal
more.
event.
I don't know. I mean, this is.
It feels middle.
Yeah, the Edinburgh tattoo is such a big tourist event. It's hard for me to imagine it as being.
But this isn't that event. It's the after party with
that's
the
what's I was
cast with
wondering if there was
everything
a
else.
reception, if there was
Yeah.
a dinner.
So you gotta bump it up
You know
a
what?
bit.
You know, I found interesting, and I try not to reference previous questions when we do these because we clip them. But the person who wanted to come up with an ideal first full outfit, I was going to say rather than doing the PC like that, I would go for an Argyle with either antique or black buttons. Because I think the chrome is really on the nose and is so bog standard that, frankly, I'm bored with it, and it looks for a lot of people, it screams rental. But the black is more flexible, the antique is more flexible. I would maybe consider that for this occasion.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It fits the bill for a little more formal than a tweed, but it's not
over the
too
top,
much. It's
yeah.
not, and it's not cliche.
Yeah.
I'm trying to thread the needle between being classy and not looking cliche.
I think if you
know
have
what
to
I
if
mean?
you have to err one way or the other, I would err a little bit more on
Yeah, I'll buy that.
tradition than personal expression.
Well, yeah,
for
that's,
this
we're both
particular
saying
event.
that.
Yeah.
It's like-
Changing the button color, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, but that's
If you
it's a simple thing.
Yes, but if you said like, well, I would want to wear, my tartan jacket and a vest to match my kilt. Nope, too much.
No, of
It's
course
over
not.
the top.
Of course not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're at that point. You're in the look at me kind of.
And
thing.
you don't you shouldn't wear tattersall in the evening.
Yeah.
So
Fair.
yeah, definitely no.
I just love tattersall.
I know you do,
I know it's
but
chef's
it's
kiss.
fascinating. I would see if you can find photos that people have posted of their experiences at this event.
Yeah.
Look on Facebook, look on Instagram, and see if people have taken pictures of how they and their friends and the people they saw at this exact event have dressed in the past, and use that as a bellwether.
Yep. Agreed. All right. Question of the day. Bring that back up on the screen here. So we have the question of the day, which Kristen is furiously, frantically trying to find. How do you maintain enthusiasm for your heritage and Highland dress? Mac, what are some of the comments we've gotten from the Peanut Gallery out there?
Okay. How do I maintain my enthusiasm? I don't stress it if I can't wear it. I love to wear kilts more often, but sometimes they just don't work. Even Jamie Fraser didn't wear a kilt 24/7.
That turncoat.
He's also fictional.
There's that.
It's another one. My enthusiasm is presently fueled by saving for tartan products and kilts, and then waiting for orders.
That's the right answer.
When I'm
My son's college fund thanks you.
maintain my enthusiasm in my heritage through cooking. Incorporate traditional Scottish
like
dishes
that.
into our holiday celebrations.
Okay. Music would be another great one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that was
music
the
is
yeah.
other
good.
one,
I like the food because we
Yeah.
were talking about if you're feeling depressed or down. I mean, comfort foods.
Yeah.
and traditional foods. Yeah, I like that a lot.
Or music or seeing bands to help, get yourself
Get-
out of
get
it a little bit.
Get out of
Okay.
funk that way. Mm-hmm.
Any others, Mac?
This is maintaining the wearing kilts for social occasions, not just every day. So using it for the special things.
Yeah. Okay. Fair. Very good.
Those are all
Very
good.
good. Excellent. Very good.
cool.
If you have any more thoughts, leave them in the comments. Thank you, boys and girls, for joining us. And until next time,